The Wrestling Inc. Documenting Chyna series includes profanity. It also contains discussions about the sensitive subjects including drug use, sexual assault, and suicide. If you or anyone in the room are easily affected by those subjects, we ask you to please turn off the program at this time. Welcome to Documenting Chyna. My name is Nick Hausman. I'm the managing editor for WrestlingInc.com, and in the year 2020, I have, due to my job covering pro wrestling, had to cover a series of other very sensitive subjects as well. Everything from most recently unionization, of course, to the coronavirus pandemic, and then we had that little thing called the speaking out movement that doesn't seem to be quite done yet. So I guess I wasn't surprised when back on October 9th, 2020, I got the following email sent to us at Wrestling Inc. It's from a man named Brady Earl, who will not be interviewed as part of this series, but he did send us this at newstips@wrestlinginc.com, which, by the way, is the email address for everyone to send any news tip they think is of worth to us. And if we see value in it, we will follow it up. So Brady emails me with the title, Chyna's Death. And his email reads, Chyna's mother, Jan LaQue, and I are investigating Chyna's death as we and others believe there was foul play involved and would like to ask your audience if anyone knows anything, they can contact either of us. We are both on Facebook. Too many clues led us to this. We know there are people out there that know something. Thank you. Very interesting email, to say the least. And so we decided to follow up on it, and Brady was kind enough to set me up with an interview with Jan LaQue, the mother of Joni Chyna Lore, and with that, we will start there with my interview with Jan. My guest at this time is the mother of WWE Hall of Famer Chyna. It is Janet LaQue. Jan, thank you very much for taking the time today.
Oh, you're welcome.
So Jan, yeah, man, out of the blue, you hit me up. And first of all, I just wanted to say, as a child of the Attitude Era in the 90s, your daughter really had a huge impact on me, a lot of kids. My girlfriend was blown away that I was even talking to you here today. What does that mean when you hear people talk like that about Joni?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. Because I guess I really never realized until after her death, actually quite a while after her death, what kind of an impact she had on people. And it just makes me very proud.
Yeah.
Very proud. And I just wish she were here so I could put my arms around her and tell her how proud I am of her,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's unbelievable. It really is. It's really it's a lot to take in, to tell you the truth,
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm sure everyone can imagine. And, one of the things about Joni that I wanted to ask you about, we all know her as this larger-than-life character, colorful world of pro wrestling. But what was she like as a little girl? What was Joni like growing up?
She was colorful.
Yeah?
She was larger than life. She loved to entertain. She was a very good, from the time she came out, she was a very good baby. She was a delightful child, I can't remember anything about her childhood that was negative. I know that sounds kind of ridiculous, and maybe I'm kind of prejudiced, but she just was a great kid, and she loved to entertain. She would go over to her grandmother and grandfather's house and put on puppet shows and dance and make jokes. She and even as she got older, and even before her death, not too long before her death, she was making jokes. She had a great sense of humor, really warm personality. Joni was the kind of kid that if she had something and you wanted it, she'd just say, "Here, take it." And that, went right in through to her adulthood. She'd just give you something. If she'd give you the shirt off her back. She was very, I don't even know what the right word is to explain. She's just a great kid. She was a great kid.
And so what was your reaction when she got into all the bodybuilding and stuff? What did you think about that when she chose to go that route?
Well, at first I didn't even know about it.
Okay.
She chose to leave home when she was 16 and go live with her dad. And then eventually, after she got through college and she tried a couple of jobs that didn't work out, she went to live with her sister, older sister Kathy, and Kathy was into bodybuilding at the time, and she kind of got Joni into the bodybuilding thing. And at that point in time, Joni and I were estranged, so I didn't know it the first time. I remember the first time I saw her on TV this is when she was in the WWF, and I don't know what the name of the show was at the time. I don't know if it was still called Raw back then or what, but anyway, she came out on stage in this silver costume with these, I don't know what you call them, bazooka guns or something.
Okay.
And there was all this smoke and fire and all this stuff, and I went, oh my God, that's Joni. I mean, I was just flabbergasted. And like I said, I don't think I really understood the true impact of exactly what she had achieved until after her death. And it was a while after her death. I just didn't get it,
Yeah.
And now I do. I mean, I'm in contact with a ton of her fans, and I hear stories all the time about the influence that she's had on people for various reasons. And it just, to a lot of people, Joni is larger than just being a wrestler. She had major impact, major positive impact on a ton of people.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and for sure. And so what did you think of the way she was presented? This ninth wonder of the world? I mean, what was your reaction to the way that they portrayed her on WWE TV?
Well, at first it was a little weird because she was portrayed as Triple H's bodyguard, I guess. And I thought she had changed so much her body structure from the way that she was that I think she was portrayed okay. I mean, I know that a lot of it's fake. So, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. But then later, when she became much more feminine in her appearance, even though she could pick up and slam just about anybody, she looked good while she was doing it.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, the stuff with her and Eddie Guerrero, that was great, where she got to show more of that side of herself, the Mamacita type stuff. So
I know. Actually, it was, I thought it was kind of cool with it. It definitely had some humor in it.
Yeah.
And that's the way Joni would have wanted it, with some humor in it. And it was people love to watch all the theatrics and all this, but they also enjoyed the humor. At least I did.
Yeah. And so you mentioned that earlier that you had become kind of estranged from Joni there, and you were it sounds like you were caught off guard when you just kind of saw her on WWE TV one day.
I was.
When did you get a chance to reconcile? What was that process like for the two of you? Well,
it started a long time ago. I've been trying to find her for years. But when she was in Japan, I was living in Florida and she was living in Japan, and it was about not quite 4 years before her death. I came across this website because I kept looking at the different websites, and I came across this website that said her mother was dead, and I went, wait a minute. I'm very much alive, so anyway, I sent a note to the website designer or whatever you call them, and I said, hey, what's the deal here? I said, I'm Joan's real mother, and I'm not dead, so what's going on? Well, it turned out it was some guy by the name of Ralph, and he was, I don't know whether he was her manager, I don't know all this stuff. I don't know whether he was her manager at the time or what, but anyway, he sent me an email back, and he said, would you like to talk to Joni? And I said, of course I would. Long story short, she called me from Japan. It was the first time that I had spoken to her in probably 16 year? No, longer than that.
Wow.
Long time. And we ended up on the phone for over an hour, and it was a wonderful conversation. It was almost like we had never had the long period of estrangement. You know, she told me about Japan. She told me about the WWF, WWE. She told me about the situation with Hunter. She told me that she was sorry she got into porn. I mean, we just went through so many different topics. And I was elated. I thought that was just wonderful. And since that time, we continued to have pretty constant communication. In fact, we were living in Florida at the time, and I had Comcast email. If I had thought we were going to move, I would have saved all of them. But when we moved here to North Carolina and we were conversing back and forth, I have saved all of the emails that Joni wrote to me. And because she was the way she was, well, we were both kind of this way. Every time she'd write me a note, she'd say, "I love you, Mommy." And when I would write her a note, I'd say, "I love you, Joni." So every communication that we had, we basically told each other that we loved each other, and and that it was just going to move on and forget the past, which I had to do a lot of forgetting. But I said, okay, she's my kid. I really want a relationship with her. I need to start fresh. And we were able to do that. It was wonderful, Nick. It was it was really wonderful.
Wow.
And I really miss her.
Yeah.
So.
That's really heavy, Jan. That you got to
I know.
have that conversation with her like that. And so at this point, then it sounds like when you had reconnected, so you were not in contact through the entire WWE run, into a lot of the kind of into the kind of tumultuous post WWE years, which I'm sure were very difficult to watch the headlines come out about her life, in some of those years. And here you are. It sounds like she was more reflective when you two had finally got to meet up there. Did you feel like she was turning the corner for maybe the better when you guys started? Yeah. Okay.
I did, and then I had a long conversation with her when she told me she was coming back to the States, and she was telling me that she was going back to Los Angeles, and I said, "Please, Joni, don't do that." I said, you can't do that. You'll get back to the same area. You'll, find the same type of people. You need to get away from those people, and, we'll figure something out." And she basically just kind of ignored it and decided she was going to go back to Los Angeles, and that's when she got involved with Eric and that scumbag Anthony Anzaldo.
Yeah.
And they started on their truck back from, I guess it was New York. She came from to the States in New York and started their truck cross country back to Los Angeles, and it was downhill from there. It was that was a bad thing.
Wow. So so this is where our timelines kind of meet up a bit here, because you reached out to us and you expressed some suspicion to us and to me about what you'd been thinking around the circumstances around Joni's passing. So I'd kind of like to give you the floor here to just kind of talk about where your head is at and what it is that you're thinking about right now that you'd like to maybe fill the fans in on out there that maybe are also thinking about Joni and her passing.
Well, when she first passed, it was a total shock. And I really didn't understand the relationship that she had with this Anthony. And, I had been thinking he was a good guy all along. And I didn't find out a lot about what had happened until, probably several years after. And I talked with the Redondo Police Department detective, Detective Valdivia, shortly after her death, and he told me, and I'm getting into this because these are some things that are driving me to feel the way I do. He told me that when he got to Joni's apartment, that Anthony was there. And in fact, Joni had fired him several weeks before her death. So the first thing I thought, and I really didn't think about it very heavily until lately, and I'll tell you why in a minute, I thought, well, why why did he even have any relationship with her at all at that point? She fired him.
Yeah.
He wasn't even supposed to be around her. So why, if he felt there was something wrong, and why did he feel there was something wrong to begin with, unless he knew, why did he go into her apartment? To me, that's kind of breaking and entering. And, you know, so that was the first thing. And then I thought, you know, why did the coroner investigator, her name is Christy McCracken, I spoke to her on the phone too, why did she not find any evidence of any alcohol in her apartment? No bottles, no glasses, no nothing. When the medical examiner, Dr. Wang, who I also spoke to in person on the phone, told me that she died of an alcohol and drug overdose. She had two kinds of alcohol in her system, and I guess they measured it in her heart muscle and also in her leg. And in her heart muscle, I don't remember the exact number, Nick, because I just called to order the autopsy report. But from what I remember on my notes, the alcohol level in her heart was 0.3. I can't remember if it was 4 or what. Not 0.03, 0.3.
Wow.
And the medical examiner told me that would have been enough to kill her, because it would have caused her respiration to completely shut down and she would stop breathing. But along with the alcohol, the two kinds of alcohol, she also had 5 drugs in her system. You know, sleeping pills. She had lorazepam, marijuana. You know, several others. I'll get the autopsy report, and I'll be able to tell anyone specifically. But that didn't make sense to me, because she always had wine in her apartment, always. And if she died of a combination of alcohol and drugs, well, why was there no sign of any alcohol in her apartment? I always had the feeling like maybe somebody came in and cleaned up. Then, when I got into the position where I hired an attorney and became the executor of her estate, and I tried to get her things back from Anthony, who went into the apartment, a lot of the clothes and a lot of the jewelry that I had seen on various videos of her and pictures of her since she came back to the States, I didn't get them. And I'm like, all right, what happened to that stuff? And when I would question Anthony about it, he'd say, oh, well, you know, that was a gift from so-and-so, so I gave the gift back. And I said, Anthony, you had no right to do that. Whether it was a gift or not, it became my property when she died. Anyway, that was going nowhere. And so, you know, it just didn't make sense to me. The other thing was, there was a trailer, I don't know if you saw it or not, from the first documentary that came out, it was a year after her death. It was on April 20th of 2017, and it showed, at the very end of the trailer, it showed Anthony going in to Joni's apartment and calling, Chyna, Chyna. When I saw that, I about flipped. So I contacted the documentary director, Eric Angra, and I blasted him, and I said, why was Anthony even involved in this? It was filmed from the back of his head, so I'm assuming somebody was coming in behind him and taking the video. Now, I don't know, that maybe he's very tricky and he can take a picture behind his head. I don't know. Sure. But it just didn't seem right. The other thing that the detective, and I'm kind of looking at my notes here because there's just so much. There's so much that I question. When he was there with the police, the detective told me that the police started knocking on doors that were next to Joni's apartment, and Anthony had a fit. And apparently he didn't want the police knocking on the doors. And the detective told me he was so obnoxious that Detective Valdivia had to escort him down the stairs in the building and out the door and off the premises. That's how obnoxious he got. Like, okay, why? You know, why would he get that belligerent? Why would he go nuts if he didn't have something to hide? But you put all those things together, and it just didn't make sense to me. Well, this is going to sound kind of crazy, but I planted a rose bush in Joni's memory out in front of my house, kind of like in a little area that's kind of prettied up. I planted another rose bush at the other end of the garden. Well, the one at the other end of the garden croaked. This one here, I can't kill. It keeps blooming and blooming and blooming and blooming, which is wonderful. But we have a little Maltese named Rosie, and about a month ago, maybe a little bit longer than a month ago, when the weather started getting nicer, I started to walk her outside. And every time I would walk by this rose bush, I'd get this kind of, I know this sounds cuckoo, but I got this kind of a feeling that the rose bush was trying to send a message to me or something. Well, this went on day after day after day after day. So I started to think a little bit more about Joni's death. And I thought, I really need to start asking some more questions about this. I really need to find a way to get what I think out to the general public and to Joni's fans and see maybe there's somebody out there that knows something, I mean, I don't know. But there's got to be an explanation for all of this. Oh, one more thing. There was a woman. We're running out of time here. Are we okay in time?
We got a little time. Yeah, we're fine. We're good. We got some time. What's going on? Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay. Well, there was a woman by the name of Debbie Joy Bendoy who called me probably about a year after Joni's death, and this was a strange thing. She kind of called me. She told me that she was with Joni that last Sunday, that they were best friends. They spent every Sunday together, and I'm thinking, Joni never mentioned her. Told me that, she was with her all afternoon. She was fine when she left, yada, yada, yada. And and then I had this weird feeling that she, that was just a strange call. Why would you call up somebody a year later and tell them everything was okay, unless maybe she was trying to convince me that everything was okay? I don't know. Anyway, and I thought, well, Joni put a video out that day, that last Sunday, and she was obviously drunk or drugged up in that video. I mean, it's public information, and so many people have told me that they really thought she looked absolutely horrible, and she did. So if Debbie was with her that day, why didn't she see what kind of shape she was in? Why didn't she try to get her help? I don't get that. She could have called 911. She could have called me. She could have called somebody to come and help her, but nothing happened. So when I started to really think about this, maybe about 3 weeks or so ago, I tried to find her on Facebook. Well, she's not on Facebook as Debbie Joy Bendoy anymore. She's on as D-E-E Bendoy. Well, when I went into that link, I found the messages that I had sent her a long time ago, and I resent her a message saying that I was looking more into Joni's death, and I'd like to know the specifics around that day. What time did she get there? What time did she leave? What kind of condition was she in? What did you talk about? Did you go anywhere? Those types of things.
Yeah.
And she ignored me. So I let it go another week, and then I sent her another message on Facebook, which, by the way, I've saved. And she's ignoring me again. So it's like, why? So I just have all these questions. And I have questions about the whole relationship that Joni had with Anthony and Eric, the filmmaker. Why was Anthony in her apartment when Joni fired him? Why was he in the documentary that Eric was? I don't know. I just there's something funky going on with this whole thing.
Well,
so
yeah, and I'll kind of wrap it up here, Jan, because I do unfortunately have to jump on another call here in just a couple minutes. But do you feel that there should be this investigation should be reopened? Would you like the LA police to reopen this and begin investigating it again?
I would. In fact, it was the Redondo Police Department that investigated it the first time, and I did call them back, and I did ask to speak with this detective who apparently now is a sergeant, and somebody else called me back and said they had no reason to reopen the investigation, and I'm thinking, that's ridiculous. You know, I don't know. But yes, of course. Are you kidding me? I would love that. I mean, I can't. My husband and I are retired and on a fixed income, so I can't afford an attorney. If I could afford an attorney, I'd jump on that right away and see if I could get somebody, a private detective or somebody, on the case. But yes, that would be awesome. If I could get somebody, maybe an attorney, to help me get it reopened or something. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think there's too many unanswered questions.
All right. Well, Jan, I want to thank you for the time. I hope that the listeners out there took heed of what you were saying. If anybody knows anything, where would you like to send people to contact you if they have a lead or would like to send along information or anything like that?
Well, if they can contact me, I can give you my email.
Sure. Yeah, give it out there.
Yeah. I'm certainly open to that. Or they can contact me on my Facebook page, and I'm on Facebook. It's Jan LaQue, and my email is jplaque66@hotmail.com. And hopefully somebody out there will be able to help. So, help, people.
After finishing my interview with Jan, I reached out to my boss, Raj Giri. Raj and I both agreed that if we were going to continue covering the story, it would probably be best for us to get more voices in the room, more sources from the people that Jan spoke about in our initial interview. The first person I reached out to was Chyna's former manager, Anthony Anzaldo. Anthony got back to us pretty quick, and he did agree to go on the record. Now, what you're going to hear between this episode and the next two episodes is a series of conversations, 3 in all, that I had with Anthony all about the subject of Chyna. And with that, let's begin.
Hello.
Hi, is this Anthony?
Yeah,
Hi, Anthony. This is Nick Hausman. How you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much for taking the time to chat with me here today.
Well, hold on a second. Let me put some ears in, okay?
Sure, go for it.
Where are they? Okay, let's see here. Can you hear me okay, Nick?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you great.
Okay, cool.
Okay, hold on one second. I'm driving from Chicago to Madison, Indiana. So hang in there with me.
Do you live in Chicago?
No.
Oh.
One second. Exit 11. I got to get off here, dude. 1 second, brother. Can I make this? 1 second. Hang in there with me. Wet and cold and snowy and all this shit.
I'm in Chicago. That's why I asked. It's snowing here.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
I saw the Chicago number come up. I didn't know what that was. Wow.
Yeah, no, that's me.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'm.
The Comic-Cons all canceled. So it's a lot of what I was doing is I represent talent for the Comic-Con. Well, now, sorry about that. I'm just watching the road and making sure I took the right turn.
No, do your
and
thing.
so now the Comic-Cons went away, but the private autograph signing business is a big deal, you know, where companies go, let me have 100 or 200 or 300 or 500 pieces signed by so-and-so.
Sure.
And now you just do it, you know, privately. I did Machio in New York a week ago, who I represent. Chyna was close with Ralph as well, and the family. And then I did C. Thomas Howell in Utah, also tight with Chyna, because they were all tight with me, and nobody was tighter with Chyna than me. And who else? I did Linda Blair. Linda and I and Chyna went to Mexico City one time together. That was a real fucking trip.
Wow, that's weird.
And then I'm on my way to do Paul Sorvino.
Well, do you mind
right now?
Well, Anthony, do you mind if we just roll?
That?
I'm already recording. This is already great context, I feel like. Can we just roll with this? Can I just start asking you questions? Is that fine?
Yeah. But here's the thing.
Okay.
Let me ask you a couple of questions first, if I may.
That's fine. That's fine.
How much time do you got?
I got at least an hour. We don't need to go an hour. We don't need to go an hour, but I have an hour. So.
But here's my problem. Here's my thing. Not my problem, but here's my thing.
Okay.
The Chyna situation is a real thorn in my side. It's a daily struggle. You know, because every other day, and by the way, I could give two shits. I don't care what people say. I don't care what people think. I know the truth. I'm good with it. Her urn is with me. And everybody else is a bunch of wannabes. They all are grasping onto something because they're either a star fucker or missed out or whatever. So I really feel it's kind of important that you know, as opposed to just answering questions.
Sure.
It's important that you know the story. And I haven't really done a lengthy or any type of interview in quite some time because I got my own thing going on with this project, and there's other projects going on, and the director stabbed me in the back, and one of the producers stabbed me in the back, and the mother stabbed me in the back. And it's just like, and I'm the only one that did anything. I'm the only one that had Chyna's back. They could all say whatever they want, but I'm just here to tell you that it's a story. So I kind of feel like it might almost be best, and and I appreciate you recording it because nobody's ever gotten it right. And by the way, I agree to do this without any knowledge of what you're going to do with it, without any, if you use something out of, not that you would or anything like that, and I'm not even saying that you would, but if you use something out of context or you do something, then that's on me. It ain't on you. And I understand that. I want you to know going into this thing, when I agree to do something like this, it's because, I need to say it and not necessarily because I care about what is written, because I really don't.
Well,
but in this particular case, I appreciate you reaching out to me, and thank you for being one of the few that actually care about doing that when other people talk about other people.
Well, obviously.
So
yeah,
I'm happy to let you start if you want.
Sure.
And ask me whatever you want. Otherwise, on top of it, it's probably going to lead me to what the story is anyway, and I could try to get through it. Because the context of where Jan comes into play is really, amazing. How we are where we are, and that, and that I'm hated so much by that team and by that group. It's like Trump and Biden, man. It's like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So why don't I let you? Why were you talking to Jan in the first place? Was there
Jan,
something that?
Sure. Yeah, I could take it from here and fill you in on how this all came together. So Jan reached out. Sorry. Jan reached out to us. She shot me a message. She said she wanted to, or she shot the site a message. She said she wanted to talk about Joni's passing and questions she had around it. We thought it was something worth following up on, so I set up a call with her.
I'm sorry. What'd you say about? She wanted to do what?
She wanted to talk about questions she had about Joni's passing, and I said we said okay. I set up the call. We recorded for about half an hour. We talked half the time about her relationship with Joni, and then the second half was about what questions she had around Joni's passing. And when I was done with the call,
and why would she ask you about questions regarding her passing?
Well, she had her own questions about Joni's passing, and she seemed to be coming to us to let her concerns or questions be made public in case somebody wanted to come back to her with more information.
I got you. Okay, so let me just stop you on one thing.
Okay.
Not stop you. By the way, do whatever you want. Handle it any way you want.
Sure.
But her name is Chyna. It's not Joni.
Okay.
And the reason why is because in 2007, her and I went to the Burbank courthouse and battled with the WWE to legally change her name to Chyna. And that's what we did. Her and I, not a bunch of other people, not a lawyer, not whatever. She was losing her mind over the fact that she came up with the name Chyna. WWE owns the name because she signed it away. And she hated the fact that she was Joni Lauer, formerly known as Chyna, or Joni, or Chyna Doll, or any of that shit. So I said, girl, let's just change your name legally. She went, can we do that? I said, hell yeah. So we went through the paperwork, and we went to court, and the lawyers from the WWE were on the phone, and it was her and I and a judge, and we went back and forth, and we battled, and Chyna didn't say two words. I laid out our case, and at the end of that hearing, they awarded Chyna the name Chyna. From that moment, we went to the we went and got a new driver's license. We went and got a new passport. We went and got a new social security number. We even got a new birth certificate. So her legal name is Chyna. Now, those that, spent time with her prior to that, Mick Foley, Bret Hart, a lot of the wrestling people, they call her Joni because that's what they know her as.
Sure.
But really anything and everything after that, to me, her name is Chyna. Her mother, I hadn't seen her in 30 years, so she can call her whatever she wants. Obviously, that's her prerogative, and nor do I care what anybody calls her. But for the just simple fact of clarifying the name, just for your information, we actually legally changed her name to Chyna.
I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah, so again, that's something to have for your knowledge pleasure.
Sure. Sure.
So her death, let me just give you my story real fast, and I'll roll through it, okay? So you completely understand what's going on here.
That's fine.
I have been in the entertainment business my whole life. I grew up in Omaha, Nebraska. My dad was a promoter. He was a theatrical agent. He was the mayor. He built houses and apartment buildings and a bigwig. Okay. So I grew up in a family of musicians, and, when I was in my teens, I convinced my dad we need to start, let me help you. I want to get into the promoting business. So we did Count Basie and Helen Reddy and DJ Thomas and Al Jarreau and Rodney Dangerfield and all of these shows, which, got my experience in that world. So I've been around talent. George Burns, Bob Hope, early on in my life. Got into radio, did radio for 10 years, moved from Omaha to Las Vegas, did 7 years in Vegas, 84 to 91. I watched them build the Mirage. I watched them tear down the Dunes and the DI and the Hacienda and the Silver Slipper and turned old Vegas into new Vegas and what we see there now. Used to be able to walk from casino to casino on the Strip. Now you got to take a tram. So it was just a different time. Well, while in radio, of course, I met many, many, many big stars, from George Michael to Ringo Starr to, whoever came through Vegas, Celine Dion to, Paul McCartney, you name it. As far as me being around talent, understanding talent, knowing how to treat talent, being able to be around talent without going, holy shit, that's so-and-so. No, it's just like, it just is. We're all people. We all need plumbers, and we all need entertainers. So you treat them all equally, and that's what they like, and that's what they want. So I did radio. After radio, I got into the record business. I left Vegas in 91, went to Detroit, did 3 years, did promotion with Elektra. Again, working with Metallica, working with Natalie Cole, working with huge artists, 3 years. Then I went to work for MCA, did 3 years at MCA, Tom Petty, Mary J. Blige, Elton John, on and on and on and on and on. Got my twin brother in the business. When I was in radio, got him an interview with RCA. I gave them an ad for the interview, and he got the job. He got LA local, turned into national. Madonna ended up hiring him. Madonna and Freddie DeMann, who was Madonna's manager and Michael Jackson's manager, and Guy Oseary, they owned Maverick Records. They hired my twin brother to head promotion. They discovered Alanis Morissette. So my brother Terry breaks Prodigy, Alanis Morissette. I'm at MCA. Circa 1998, I went to work for a company called Left Bank. It's a management company. We managed the Bee Gees, Meatloaf, Motley Crue. I worked with Motley Crue at Elektra. I worked with Meatloaf at MCA, Everlast, Coolio. That was all there. We started our own label. About 2 years into that, my twin brother and I said, you know what? We're tired of working for the man. We started our own company called Good Guy Entertainment, 1998. Are you with me?
I am,
so
yes.
far?
I'm here. Yep, I
okay.
gotcha.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure you that we don't lose each other.
No, we're good.
So from there, we started a company called Good Guy Entertainment, and we needed a project. We had about $100,000 in the bank, but we had no project. So my daughter, who was 7 at the time, she's now pushing 30. She was a huge Brady Bunch fan. Now, circa 1972, I'm 10 years old. My family and I go to Hawaii for a family vacation. Who's there filming the Hawaii episodes? The Brady Bunch. So we tag along and watch the Brady Bunch film much of those episodes. It'd just be a coincidence, right?
Yeah.
Years later, my brother Terry and I say, let's go meet with Barry Williams, who's Greg Brady, who we knew wanted to make a record. So we made a record with Barry. Then we did his book, which we turned into a movie for NBC called Growing Up Brady. The book was a bestseller. The movie was huge for NBC.
I remember
Haley
the movie.
Haley Cuoco played Maureen McCormick. We cast her. Adam Brody played Barry Williams. We cast him, and we made this movie. So that now we're up and running. At about that time, celebrity reality TV became very big. Remember, there's a reason why soap operas have been very, very, very successful over the last 60 years now. Because people like looking at other people's lives. They like to see the drama in people's lives. They like to keep track of what they're doing. Hell, throw some celebrity in there and reality. That ups soap operas like times 10. So we got very involved in booking celebrities in reality shows, celebrity boot camp, celebrity celebrity wife swap. You name it. If it had celebrity next to it, we were putting talent in there.
Okay.
So we did a movie called Dickie Roberts with David Spade. And at the end of the movie, it's kind of a We Are the World of B-listers. We put 30 of them in there. That was all us. Blah, 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 blah. So around that time, a lot of casting directors were reaching out to us for our contacts, one of which was Mike Darnell at Fox. He created a show called Celebrity Boxing. You remember it or not?
I do. Danny Bonaducci took on Todd Bridges or something like that, I think, at some point.
No, Danny Bonaducci kicked the living shit out of Barry Williams.
That's what it was. Yes. That's
okay.
Right. Yes.
Todd Bridges fought somebody, but it was Dustin Diamond fought Ron Palillo, who was Horseshack. You had Tanya Harding fighting. So we cast much of that.
You are aware that Tanya Harding fight was like the crux of I, Tanya. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to bring that up. Anyway, go ahead.
No, not at all. So anyway, I cast Chyna to fight Joey Buttafuoco. So that's when I met Chyna for the first time. And it's an interesting story because she didn't realize her management was a bunch of assholes, which most of them were for her over the course of her life. They didn't tell her that she was boxing. They thought she thought she was going to be a ringside color announcer. She had no idea she was going to fight Joey Buttafuoco when she got there. So my baptism of fire, my introduction to Chyna, who I did not know, was walking into a dressing room to explain to her that she's not holding a microphone. She'd get these gloves on. And she looked at me like I was on crack cocaine. And she's like, I had no idea. And so I proceeded. I showed her the contract. She signed it. She goes, well, I just signed it. So it wasn't a beef. It wasn't a problem. She was very much, okay. So we went over the rules. It was 3 rounds, 3 3-minute rounds, on and on. Well, she fought him, and she lasted. And that's how we met.
Wow.
Okay? Fast forward. I'm putting a bunch of people on a show called Surreal Life for VH1.
I remember.
You know the show?
Yeah, Chyna was on that show.
Okay. Yes. So I put Chris Knight on that show. Chris Knight, Peter Brady, because I represented all the Bradys at the time. He did Surreal Life. And so did Chyna. Same season. Well, Chyna was nuts at that time. She was doing a lot of meth, which she would deny. She was in a horrible relationship with X-Pac. She claimed that she was running from him at this point. So she went and did Surreal Life. And if you watch it, you'll see she was up all night. She was nuts during that episode. She was sleeping in mini-me's freaking bed. She was just a real pain in the ass. And her and Adrian Curry, who ended up marrying Chris Knight.
That's right.
And together, we created a show called My Fair Brady.
I remember.
From that.
Yep.
Okay, so the episode where they get married. And they get married outside of Chicago because Adrian was from, I think, like Eric's one of my best friends. Mancow.
Okay.
That's my boy.
Okay.
So I think that Adrian's from like Rockville or something. I can't remember the name of the town, but it's near Chicago. And that's where they got married.
Rockford, I think.
Well, I go to the wedding, and I'm solo. Chyna goes to the wedding, and she's solo. So they sat us together. That's where we clicked. That's when we started working together. I took her on as a client at that time. This had to be 90. I don't even remember. No, I'm sorry, not 90. 2000.
Yeah, I was about to say that had to be like 2002,
Something.
2003, something like that. It sounds like at that
It
point.
was post wrestling, and it was after she did celebrity boxing.
Okay.
Okay, and after she went to Tokyo to fight that guy.
That might have been 2006.
So
Might have been later. Anyway, I have to check.
it might have been 2005, something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
However, it grew into something that was much more than a manager-client relationship. Now, her and I were never intimate, but we were everything else but. We might as well have been married without sex. It's weird because, you know, she was my wingman, I was her wingman.
Anthony, you there? Yep. Anthony, you there? Can you hear me? Anthony? I think we broke up. Anthony?
Hello?
Hello? Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we lost your signal.
Can you
there.
hear me?
Yeah, I heard you. We dropped you there when you were talking about how you were each other's wingmans.
Got it. So can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good. It must have been a driving thing with
okay.
your signal.
Yeah. So just let me know when you can't. Well, if you can't hear me, then I can't hear you probably. But anyway.
You're good.
So we really hit it off. We became very tight. We went everywhere together. I did all of her business dealings. She came to my house for Thanksgiving, for Christmas. I was her family. And I put her on Celebrity Rehab, which was a show that I created with Dr. Drew and John Irwin back then, also Sober House. So around that time, I was the first time that she had cut. She was a cutter. You know what that is?
A cutter is where you hurt yourself, yeah.
When you cut yourself. So I didn't know she was a cutter. I found her in a pool of blood, unconscious, in her apartment on a fluke one time, and carried her basically down the street to a hospital in Burbank. This is the kind of shit that her and I went through together. So fast forward, because I'm going to get to what you need to know.
No, this is
fast
all.
Forward to 2000.
You're telling me a lot. You're telling me a lot of what I wanted to, which was the backstory leading into this. So please continue.
Yeah, there is a backstory. So
Yeah.
just to understand that Chyna and I were not. I wasn't her manager. You fucking kidding me? She didn't fire me. I fire her. She don't fire me. So that's why everything's going, yeah, she fired him. Oh, please. You guys had no understanding of our relationship. I was her manager by title, just so that she'd know that this is my manager. But I was done managing people, man. I was managing projects. Okay? I still managed Susan Olsen and Linda Blair and Christy McNichol and people like that because they didn't have anybody. So they needed to put somebody on IMDb, so it was me. And we were all great friends. And that's how all of my friends are people that are in the business. You know, you'd laugh if you saw my Rolodex. I mean, you would literally chuckle. You would chuckle. It'd be like, oh, my God. It's funny, right? So anyway, so let me just get back to where I was there. Manager. I'll get to that. So, however, Chyna had a problem with relationships, man. I mean, I come to find out that her ex-manager, she fired on the spot for no reason. You know, she accused her sister of stealing her Playboy money. Not true. Chyna told a lot of lies. Okay? But here's what we discovered. Chyna had a condition called delusional disorder. So that when things in her life happened that were bad, she changed the events in her mind as a coping mechanism. So she may tell you, Sean Waltman raped me. I didn't agree to do a sex tape. Where I have footage of her in the parking lot at the Troubadour promoting the tape, saying we're going to show the world our love. I have checks that were cashed by Chyna worth $100,000 from as an advance. I have conversations where she agreed to go back for round 2 because they wanted to put anal in there. So if you listen to the interview that Opie and Jim Norton did in New York in June of 2015, when I picked her up in New York after she was in Japan for 4 years, and we went there and we started the interview, and they got X-Pac on, and the two of them started battling together, and she would go, Joni, why are you lying? Why are you lying about the fact that we did drugs together? Why are you lying about the fact that we were mutually abusive with each other? And she was just lying. And so they would say to me, Anthony, is she telling the truth? And my answer was, because I did not know about her disorder at this time, was I believe she believes she's telling the truth. And that turned out to be a fact. Because she ultimately was diagnosed with this disorder, okay, along with other issues, all kinds of issues, from her family life to when she was growing up, which I'll get into in a second. But anyway, I make that point because in 2007, or was it 2008? I think it was the fall of 2008. Things are rolling along fine. I get an email from her. We're done. We're through. We're not working together, and we're not friends. And that's that. Out of the blue, dude. I don't know what the fuck happened. I tried calling her. I tried reaching out to her. Nothing. It was over. Okay. Oh, well. Crushed me because I loved her, man, and did not understand why she did this. Okay, that's that. You with me so far?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, good. So then she gets into porn, which was really surprising to me because she wasn't into it. Well, she claimed, well, fuck it. If they're gonna show me in porn, I'm gonna go do porn. So she went and did porn. Her and I did not communicate for 7 years.
Wow.
Whatever. I didn't care. It was fine. I mean, we never crossed paths. We never saw each other. Nothing. Well, in 2000, and then I come to find out later, she got involved with some guy in Venice, a real loser. Dude, she hung out with all these greaseball losers, man. Her type was just, the greasy, long-haired, just, I don't know what the hell, man. It was bizarre. But this dude basically controlled her with meth. His name was Steve, for like a year, and basically took all of her money, like $250,000. The reason I know this is because when she came back to the States in 2015, and my goal was to get her back to normal, she owed the IRS $120,000. And it was all because she pulled her IRA and didn't pay the taxes on pulling that back when she basically gave the guy the card, and he just went and pulled the money anytime he wanted. Well, a close friend of hers who lived in Hawaii said, Chyna, you have to stop this. But she was too far gone. So the girl and her mother came to get her and basically kidnapped her and took her to Hawaii, where for about 6 months she lived with these two people. And it was then where she fell into a manic depression and moved to Tokyo basically to kill herself. Okay? Now, why Japan? Couple of reasons. She trained there. Her wrestling mentor lived there. Chyna had a degree in language, from the University of Tampa. Chyna spoke 4 languages: German, Spanish, Japanese, and English. So she got a job in Japan teaching English to children and corporate people. But it was only a 4-month work permit. She stayed for 4 years. I'll get to that. However, when she first got there, she tried to kill herself by cutting herself where she would bleed to death. So she went in the town square near the police station, started ranting and raving with this knife, cutting herself. The cops come. She was hopeful they would shoot her and kill her. Okay? By the way, I have this in audio. I have all of this in audio. She told me all. I have 9 hours of audio with her for the book that we're going to do, that I'm going to do. And the audio is, when I did Barry Williams' book, the Greg Brady book, it was about his 5 years on the show. That's what the book was. This book was for just the years that she spent in the WWE, for travel, how she got in, her and Triple H, how she found out about Stephanie, when she was the last person that Bret Hart spoke to before he fell from the ceiling in Kansas City.
Oh, and yeah.
I got all that shit on audio. When her and Hunter met for the first time after she found out about Stephanie and what happened, and the fact that he did actually, this is off the record, okay? We're back on the record. Because, and we'll get to that, but I have this whole audio because my book with Chyna was going to be just her years in the WWE, and we would make that into a movie for Lifetime, which is already done. But I stepped away for a while because it's been too painful, okay? And then I'm getting just attacked by everybody. So it doesn't matter. I've had gorilla shit sent to me in the mail. I've had people threaten my life. I've had shit that I've opened up in the mail that exploded into confetti and glitter. I've had to get rid of a sofa because of the damage that did. I've had things left on my door in my condo, and to get in that condo is almost impossible, threatening me, all of that shit. So, by the way, whatever, okay? Because I know the truth, and I know what's in my heart, and I know what's real. So, she tells me it's over. So 7 years go by. So she goes to Tokyo, tries to kill herself. But here's what the police, they don't carry guns in Japan. So nobody shot her. They just ransacked her, put a straitjacket on her, and put her in a mental institution for 30 days. While in the mental institution, she decided, you know what? I don't want to die. I want to live. So she gets out of the mental. By the way, this is shit very few people know. Okay? I find it important for you to know it. Okay? To get truly. And by the way, do with what you wish, my brother.
Yeah, no, sure.
This is bigger than Jan and wanting to know about her daughter's death. Okay, whatever. They just want to keep coming. Go ahead.
I just want to jump in real quick. The moment you're talking about here where she's in Tokyo having left the mental institution, was this roughly about 4 years before her passing?
Yeah, no, 5 years.
5 years.
This is like 2011, 2012.
Because from what Jan had told me, she got a call from Chyna right around that time from Tokyo to her. So, just wanted to say those two things line up.
I don't know much about when Chyna called Jan from Tokyo, other than when Chyna and I re-established our relationship while she was still in Japan. We came up with the idea of doing the documentary. And it's called The Reconstruction of Chyna, which was a TV show that we pitched in '05 and '06 to VH1 and all the others, because which was we were going to redo her body, we were going to redo her, spirituality, and we were going to and get her mental health and get her off drugs and alcohol, right? And the drugs are just merely prescription medication, at the time towards the end. But she was doing meth and coke and all that stuff with X-Pac and before. But once she got to Japan, she wasn't doing anything but medication, okay, the prescription. But we had pitched this show called The Reconstruction of Chyna. We didn't sell it because she was doing all kinds of ensemble shit, right? She was in all kinds of ensemble shows. She did, again, Celebrity Rehab. She did Fame Games. She did, I put her in all kinds of shit, right? Well, we didn't sell the show, but I told her on that call, I said, well, let's do the documentary, Reconstruction Chyna, and part of it is you're going to regain a relationship with your family. And so, if you feel comfortable, maybe start reaching out to them to say, hey, I'm trying to get my life together. I'd like to see about us maybe getting back together. And that's including her sister, her brother who lives in D.C., and her mother. So I know that at that time, she reached out to Jan. That was more like more like the late winter of 2015. Had she reached out to her mother prior to that? She did not mention that to me. I do not know that. Okay. So I really feel like other than what you're saying, take credit for her reaching out to her mother in the first place. Okay? Because my thing with Chyna was, when you forgive somebody, you're not telling them what they did was okay. You're telling them that I've now processed it and I'm able to get on with my life. And same thing with the WWE, which I was behind all of that. All of those videos she put out about trying to reconcile with Hunter and Stephanie and Vince, that was all me. I fed her every fucking line. Okay? We'll get to it. In the meantime, so she reaches, so she goes to Tokyo. She decides she wants to live. She does get a job to teach English, but it's a part-time job. She's making very little money, and she's living in not even a studio apartment. And she had somebody sort of running her affairs, which fucked her over too. Everybody fucked her over. I'm the only human on the planet that hasn't fucked her over. I'm the only one. Period. So, this guy's fucking her over. Whatever. So, she's there 4 years, dude. Well, she's had it. She's done. She wants to come home. She wants to come back to America. She wants some sort of a life. She wants a career maybe. She has no idea if anybody cares. She knows nothing. I post on YouTube a video of me and my son Anthony, who she knew very well. She knows all my kids. My daughter lived with her for a year, for God's sake. So again, she's a part of my family, and I'm her family. That was her family, me and my kids. So she sees this video. She must have Googled me or whatever. Sees this video of me and my son Anthony Jr. doing a song called Let Her Cry by Hootie and the Blowfish. Now, I've been playing guitar and singing since I was 11 years old, but I'm no good. I'm a real hacker. I could be okay if it's in my wheelhouse and if I'm playing at my sofa to a girl and I'm singing her a love song. That works. But nobody's going to want to hear me on a level of, you know what I mean? However, my son, he's a motherfucker. He's a killer. He tours the world. He's a guitar player. He's in a band. He's fantastic. He did it for me because I want to just post something. She sees it. She tells me She loses her mind. She starts weeping. I'm not trying to over-dramatize this shit. I'm just telling you what I was told.
Mm-hmm.
So what does she do? She reaches out to me, sends me an email. Would I be willing to Skype with her? She realizes she was wrong. She's so sorry that she removed me from her life. She wants to come home. And of all of the years that she's been on the planet, there's only one person she feels she can reach out to that A, will not judge her, that B, will of course forgive her, that C, knows her like I know her, and would actually find a way to get her home and to get her back on her feet. And that person is the person you're talking to. And I reached back, I said, sweetheart, absolutely. So we set up a Skype, and we Skyped. And there it was. And she said, here's my situation. I'm stranded. I did a 4-month work furlough. I've been here 4 years. If I try to leave the country, they'll arrest me. I can't leave. I said, okay, well, she goes, I said, what do I do? How do we do? I go, well, who do you know there? Who speaks English? She says, well, I joined the Mormon church. Now, like me, Chyna's extraordinarily spiritual, but we're not religious. Okay, there's a huge difference. We believe in the energy of the universe, the power of the universe. God follows me. God doesn't have a plan for me. I have a plan for me. God gives me the tools to achieve it. If you are always kind, only great things will happen to you. What you put out is what you get back. Okay? So that's the mantra. So the fact that she joined the Mormon church was merely based on the fact that she was looking for a community to be a part of. People who spoke English. People that were loving, that were caring. If it meant church and Jesus and all that stuff, so be it. All good. No problem. You want to baptize me? Hell, baptize me. I said, oh, so you're a member of the Mormon church? She says, yes. I says, well, they have to have an attorney. Because I'm sure they do. I said, who's the pastor? She says, I'll give you the information. So she gives me the information. I reach out to the pastor. We get on the phone. He goes, oh, my God, we love Chyna. She's amazing. She's so sweet. Can I tell you, she was a Mormon for 1 year before we even knew who Chyna was, that we even knew that she was a wrestler or all this stuff. We didn't even know. We had no idea. And we love her. I said, dude, I need your lawyer. And he goes, what's up? And I told him the story. Lawyer gives me a call. He says, let me see what I can do. A week goes by. He says, here's what we can do. I can get her out. I can get her to leave the country. As long as you can prove that when she gets there, she's got a place to live, she's got a job, she's got blah, blah, blah. She's going to have to spend 1 hour in a holding block cell at the airport before she can get on a plane. That's her penance. I said, oh, my God. Chyna, we got this. Now, I can get you out of the country. But now, I need to get you home. And I don't have the money to do it. So, let me see if I can find a documentarian who's willing to come up with, let's just say, 10 grand. That gets you home. That gets me to New York from LA. And then you and I, we start 1 year of your life. From the day you arrived, for 1 year, we document your life. It's the reconstruction of Chyna, but it's now a documentary. And we do because her boobs needed to be redone. I can tell you 100 stories about her boobs. She's got a scar on her stomach that she hated, that she tried to put a tattoo over, and it's fucked up. She wants that, she wanted to lift her face a little bit over here. So that was the physical aspect of it. The mental aspect of it speaks for itself. And now I was in charge of the spiritual aspect of it. We're going to forgive X-Pac. We're going to forgive Triple H. Why? Because it makes you feel better to do so. It ain't about them. It's about you. We're going to go to the headquarters. Are you good with that, Chyna? Yes, I'm good with that. Beautiful. So there's this guy named Rob Patillo, who's a big asshole, who you may know, you might even talk to, you might even like. I have no idea. He's the devil. He's the most evil human being on the planet. He now runs Jan's social media. He's a pedophile. He's been caught. He can't leave the state. Look it up. The guy's a loser. I've even told Jan this, and she still works with this guy. This guy is evil. Anyway, he hits me up prior to Chyna and I really making sure she was coming back. He does a web series, and he does this character, kind of like Macho Man meets, I don't know. It's a fucking joke. It's about as funny as a fucking funeral. But anyway, he does this show. He convinced, who's the guy that Hulk Hogan hangs with, Big Mouth of the South.
No, Jimmy Hart.
Jimmy Hart. So Jimmy Hart from Florida goes to Boston, where this guy lives, and does this webisode series with him. And Rob is partners with this director named Eric Angra. Eric Angra is the lead editor for Ken Burns. Who's Ken Burns? The biggest documentarian in the history of all time.
I know Ken.
He's the guy that did the 17-hour Civil War thing.
Yeah.
He's the guy that did the documentary on fucking baseball, okay? He's the man. Well, this guy, Eric Angra, is his lead editor. So you would think that he knows how to put a documentary together, would you not? So Rob says, I'm trying to get Chyna to do my show. I say, I'm looking for a documentarian. He goes, I got a buddy. That's how the three of us came together. Eric said, I got 10 grand to put up. And the budget was to get Chyna home, to get me to Boston, then for the four of us to go to New York, do a ton of press. Chyna is back. Keep in mind, I know everybody in press. People Magazine, Washington Post, you name it. I know them, okay? We go do all the radio. We do Pharrell. We do the morning shows. We do Opie and Anthony, who's now Opie and Jim. You name it. We do Fox and Friends in the morning show. We do all the TV, all that shit. And the money, the 10 grand, is used for that, for us to travel. We rent a van, and then we're going to drive from New York to L.A. because the whole point was, does anybody still know who Chyna is? That was kind of that little baby arc within it. So, guess what? It's happening. June, I think it was the 9th or the 18th or something like June 15th, 16th, 14th, 13th, something like that. I say to her, I want you to start shooting a video library of you in Tokyo. Now you're coming home. Start shooting it. So the footage that I have from that 3 weeks is unbelievable. They shut off her power. They shut off her internet because she's telling them she's leaving. And the guy that's supposed to be taking care of her is stealing from her. So I had to go take care of that problem. Okay? And so she's walking to a 7-Eleven to get service for internet, to call me or to talk to me about what the update is and what we're doing and blah, blah. So all of this is documented. She's got her little doggy that she had to give up. Documented. Unbelievable. Her trying to make the flight. She's running late. She can't catch the train. She catches the train. By the way, she's got a backpack and not 15 cents to her name. And the clothes that she's wearing. That's it. Everything else, gone. You feel me?
Yeah.
That's who I am. That's who I am. That's who Anthony Anzaldo is to Chyna. So, I fly to Boston, and I meet these guys. I meet Rob. I meet Eric, and we start shooting. We shoot us having a conversation with her from their apartment in Boston to us driving to New York to pick her up, me telling the story about our history and how all this happened, and then finally the reunion happened. Me and Chyna embraced. It's at the JFK airport. It's all on video. It's all part of the documentary, right? We immediately go to downtown New York and we start walking the street. And she's wearing that little hat and glasses, and we can't walk 5 feet. And people are going, Chyna, 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 there's Chyna, Chyna. We're taking pictures every 30 seconds. I go, hey, Chyna, anybody know who you are? We walk by the fire station. The guys lose their mind. We go down to the 9/11 site. People lose their mind. We do radio, TV. We're doing radio. By the time we leave the radio station, there's 40 people outside trying to get her autograph. She's been gone 4 years. Haven't been heard of. She's been off WWE for 14 years at this point. So, awesome. We walk by a billboard. It's The Rock promoting the movie he did where there was an earthquake.
Okay.
Whenever that movie came out.
Sure.
And that's when we start talking about The Rock. And that's when we start talking about wrestling. Because here's the thing. The idea about the documentary, it's not a doc about Chyna. It's about a woman who happens to be Chyna. So as we're bringing in this year, we're filtering in all the other shit. If I didn't show her wrestling for 1 second in this documentary, it wouldn't have bothered me. Because it's not about that. And people who know who Chyna is wouldn't need to see that. And people who don't know who Chyna is can look her up and see, oh my God, that's Chyna. This woman I watched this documentary about. Now, I can show the shit that she did in Japan, which is unbelievable. Tokyo Dome, 70,000 people against a guy who ended up breaking her nose in 2 seconds, and how that all came to be, which was 6 months after she did celebrity boxing, by the way. But that's a whole other thing. But anyway, and if I do show wrestling, that's fine. We may not. Depends on if we can license it, whatever. But WWE hates me. Why? Because I got her name from them in 2005, let's not forget. So now, Chyna and Anthony are back. Ugh, a big fat thorn in their side. So, we leave New York, off to Connecticut, to the WWE headquarters, of which we go to. Now, circa 2004, I'm in a Best Buy 11 years earlier. DVDs, Blu-rays, they're all the new craze. I see this 20-year anniversary, I can't remember how many year anniversary of WrestleMania. And Chyna is in like 3 matches. And I say to her, Chyna, are you getting any royalties from WWE? She says, no. So I called WWE, 2004, and I said, Chyna got any royalties coming? They go, oh my God, yes, we've been looking for her. $88,000 they sent her a check for. $88,000, 2004. So, fast forward, June of 2015, I say, let's go to the headquarters, not to make amends, not to see if we can kiss their ass, not to see if they'll put you in the Hall of Fame, not to see if they'll hire you again, just to simply go to accounting and say, hey, you guys, I have a check for Chyna by chance. In 2004 you did. We're just taking a shot. Right? Nothing wrong with that. Well, we go to WWE. We shoot it. Chyna and I are standing outside WWE headquarters. We talk about why we're going in. We talk about how we're going to ask to see Vince McMahon. We're going to talk about how we're going to ask to see Triple H. But more so than anything, anybody in accounting we can see, because it's possible that we're owed money. So we walk in. to the lobby of the WWE. I have a pen in my pocket that's videotaping. Now, didn't turn out great, but there's audio, a lot of audio. And this was before they were really, really good, like video pens and all that shit like there is now. But anyway, it's a very dark lobby. It's really not welcoming, let's just say. There's a big desk. There was a woman behind the desk. There's like 4 statues in the lobby. I think Andre, I can't remember who they all were. So we stand out there, and I say, hello, my name is Anthony Anzaldo. I am here to see somebody in business and legal in regards to whether or not my client who's standing here next to me, Chyna, might happen to be owed some royalty. I don't know if she is or not, but I'd like to find out. Dude, within 15 seconds, there was 5 black suits in the lobby. All men, and all saying to me, we're very sorry, but you guys are confada non grata, whatever that thing is, and you're going to have to leave. And I said, why? What have we done? Sir, you're going to have to leave. What have we done? Why can't I see accounting? Can I see Vince? Can you ask if Anthony and Chyna can see Vince? Sir, you're going to have to leave. Now they start moving towards us. So we left. We go outside. We shoot the results of that meeting. We get back in the van, and we drive to Cleveland, Ohio, formerly the Gund Arena. Okay? It's where she won the Intercontinental belt. So we go to the arena. Now, it's now called Rocket Fuel Arena, whatever it is. And it happened to be the day, look it up, I think June 16th of 2015, Golden State Warriors, Game 6 against the Cleveland Cavaliers, the day the Warriors actually won it. It's also the day that Donald Trump took the elevator and the escalator at Trump Plaza and announced he was running for president. So I have all of this on tape. We're in a bar in Cleveland watching Donald Trump. So she starts talking about Trump, and she knows him and their history and what kind of a guy he is and all this other kind of stuff. Like him or not, I don't give a shit. I'm just saying what the conversation was then. And then we went to Gund Arena, and they wouldn't let us walk in because they were setting up the floor, and there was a game that night. But we talked to the security guard, and this is where it all went down, and this is where it all happened. How cool. You won. And so we started talking about that night, what was going on behind the scenes. She talked about how Jeff Jarrett hadn't signed a contract yet. And you're in the wrestling, in this world, so you probably have that backstory.
Sure.
And that they just talked about how they were going to end it and all that. They didn't, rehearse anything. They really, literally for 1 minute, talked about the match before they went out and wrestled. Okay? So she wins the belt. He leaves. Fast forward, I don't know. They offered her the WWE Championship belt. But Vince said, but you can't do Playboy. Because she got offered to do Playboy. She chose Playboy over the belt. Whether you knew that or not, there's a nugget for you.
I didn't know that.
She chose Playboy. So she chose Playboy. By the way, when she got her boobs done, remember all of a sudden she's one flat-chested thing? Nobody knew, what is it? Is it a man? Is it a woman? What is it? Well, she went and got her boobs done one weekend and didn't tell Vince. And when she came back with tits, he was effing pissed. That was her first boob job. And that boob broke Savio Vega in the ring. Chain match. He hit her in the tits with his chain and popped one of her boobs.
Oh, my God.
Okay? So she let that go for a while. She got sick, ultimately went to Thailand, got the boobs redone, but the guy did a bad job with the the sewing around the nipples. So she's opening a bag of chips, and they spring open, and so her nipples eventually look like they were sort of splattered on her areola. Take a look at the footage of her not Playboy because they airbrushed all that, but the porno. You'll see her tits. You'll see that scar I speak of with the tattoo. All of that. By the way, nobody knows this shit.
Wow.
Nobody. Because I'm the only guy that knows the story, the true story, the real story. Not the wannabes, not the star fuckers, not the mother who wished that she could have saw her daughter after 30 years, that I was trying. I'm the one behind all that. I'm the good guy. So, she eventually, so those tits worked out like that. She hated them. She hated her body. So, anyway, Savio Vega. So, Vince says if you do Playboy, you don't get the belt. She said, fuck the belt. I'm doing Playboy. Highest selling out-of-the-box Playboy, out-of-the-box, first-week Playboy in the history of Playboy. More than Kim Kardashian, more than, am I still with you, brother?
Yeah, I'm right here. I'm here.
Okay, good. I just, because I got another call, and I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't you calling me back.
No.
So he, she said, so it's the highest selling Playboy out of the box. It's like top 3 all time behind Kardashian and Marilyn Monroe. So she does Playboy. Awesome. Now she's a big fucking star. She does the book, but the book is WWE did the book. And she didn't even make money on the book. By the way, she didn't get paid to make the book. She had to promote it. She had to do signings. Did not make 1 penny on the book. They kept it all. And by the way, they edited it. She wasn't able to say the truth about certain shit. They put stuff in there that isn't true. They took stuff out of there. She hated that book. Our book is the real story, and it's coming. It's coming. I'm not in no hurry. Anyway, so when the whole shit went down, when she found out, when Stephanie and Hunter started their relationship on camera, they made sure she was having a relationship with Eddie Guerrero. Which, by the way, Eddie's wife hated that. But whatever. So they had Eddie and Chyna on the road all over the place, and they had Hunter and Stephanie on the road while they were actually really fucking. It took a year before Chyna caught them. How did she catch them? Because they owned a house together in New Hampshire. They were engaged, Triple H and Chyna. Okay?
Yeah.
He never gave her a ring, but Triple H gave Stephanie a ring, but it was all part of the storyline, but it was in real life. So that's when Chyna started to go, is this real? And he's like, why are you saying that? Don't accuse me. So as few of times as they're actually home together in New Hampshire at their house over the course of 365 days, maybe 8 days, she goes to his briefcase and picked the lock and found a letter from Stephanie professing her love. Approaches Hunter and proceeds to get into World War III. At this point, as I mentioned off the record, but I'm here to tell you that when they had that encounter, let's just say it was loud and there was issues and he apologized, and that was the last time they spoke. She left that house, all of her costumes, her belts, her stuff, she left it all there. She had nothing when she left that house. And they hadn't spoken until Rowdy Roddy Piper's funeral, of which I will get to.
Wow.
So, she leaves, and that was the next day she gets fired. The next day she's fired. She's fired. Not over contract negotiations, not over nothing. She's fired. So she goes to Vince. And Vince, and who's standing outside Vince's office? Stephanie. So her and Stephanie go in the room together for the first time with the both knowledge of what the real deal is. And that did not go well either. Didn't get physical, but it was ugly. Then Vince comes in. And Vince is like, I'm throwing my hands up. This is between you guys. Chyna, you're out. And that was that. And she's now out. Now she hates the WWE. Fuck Vince McMahon. She's posted videos inebriated. I'm going to kill you, Hunter. All that shit. It's all out there. So now they hate her. She hates them. So that's been the story, right? Now she's in my possession. And we just left the WWE. Chyna, here's what we're going to do. Hunter, Stephanie, Vince, I just want you to know I am so sorry for my part in this relationship going bad. Hunter, because I say to Chyna, this isn't about saying you're sorry. It's about being specific about what you're sorry about. That's how it gets. When I caught my wife in bed with another man in 2002 with 5 kids under the age of 17, and my ex-wife, who got caught with meth and all this shit, and my oldest son didn't speak to her for 10 years, and when she got clean and she came to me and she said, how do I make it up to my kids? How many more times do I have to say I'm sorry? I said, were you specific about what you were sorry for? She goes, what do you mean? Miles, I am so sorry that when I decided to pursue another man and started pursuing another man, that I didn't take into consideration how your life would change if and when I got caught. And I am so sorry that I did not take you and your life into consideration when I made that horrible mistake to take a hit of meth with 5 kids at home. What was I thinking? And it was those words that got the meeting between my 2 oldest sons and my ex-wife and me at a restaurant in San Francisco to start to rebuild that relationship. So that's what my advice to Chyna was. Hunter, Stephanie, Vince, I am so sorry that I did videos that I said, and I was inebriated, and I said, Hunter, I'm going to kill you. I don't want to kill you. This is like a family. You're a family to me. We had our issues. Can we just get together and hug it out? I don't want a job. Don't put me in the Hall of Fame. Whatever. I'm doing this for me. I need to do this for me. Can we get together? You know what their response was? A cease and desist to me and her. Stop putting videos up. You know what I mean? That's what their response was. I was leaving messages for Stephanie, Hunter, and Vince. You guys, can we just hook up? Can we just make it right? Wouldn't you rather just make it right? All 3 of them sent me cease and desist. Maybe it was because of what was happening in 2000, what happened with her name change. Maybe it was because we went to the headquarters. Maybe just because they're just a bunch of assholes. I have no idea. But we kept making those videos. And I fed her those lines. But she believed it, and she wanted to do it. And then I said to her, and our next quest is you're going to forgive X-Pac. You're going to forgive him, Chyna. It's going to take time because you can't just push a button. But because you're going to live a healthier, happier life if you can remove this angst. I started showing her the video of her admitting to the sex tape. I was very careful, but I showed her the cash check. She's starting to fix, well, Chyna, you have this disorder. We're going to get you help. Okay? Okay. So she started, guess what we were going to do in October of 2015? MGM Grand. X-Pac against Chyna in a independent wrestling company main event with all the major guys and girls that were out there that weren't attached to WWE anymore. like it would be Big Dog against, Road Dog against somebody, or, you know what I'm saying? Billy Gunn.
Sure.
Again, it'd be like that lineup. We'd have a couple of midgets, whatever. But the main event, pay-per-view, Chyna versus X-Pac. And she was going to win. That was my ending to the documentary. She went from being in Japan in the dark, in the cold, missing her dog, saying, I got to get out of here. Somebody help me, to raising her arms in victory. Clean and sober, healthy mind, body, and soul, and back. That's what Anthony Anzaldo was doing for her. Now, along the way, a couple of hiccups. So, we go to Cleveland. Now, from Cleveland, we go to Omaha, Nebraska. Why Omaha, Nebraska? I grew up there. The middle of the country. Remember, we're traveling cross country because, see where I am with my map here. Shit. I hope I didn't miss something. Hold on. Oh, no, we're good. Remember, we're traveling cross country to just assure her that people still know who she is and that she's still viable. But, we're also doing this now for the footage and the documentary. So, my dad, again, keep in mind, he passed away a year ago, August. He was the mayor. He was musicians union, built apartments and houses. He was a big time in Omaha. Well, we had College World Series tickets, and I'm talking right behind third base dugout, the first seat behind that. So if you were watching a left-handed batter, you were seeing us. So for 25 years, when I left Omaha to move around the country, and the College World Series was on TV, I could see my parents, whether I'm jogging on something at the fit club, or I was at home or on the road. I could turn on the TV and see my parents when a left-handed batter was on. So I said to my mom, we're coming to Omaha, Chyna and I, and we're going to go to the World Series. And she said, great. So when we got to the World Series and we're walking down that long walk to the front, and I'm talking to people going, Chyna. People going, wow, there's Chyna. By the time we got to our seats, the entire fucking stadium, 23,000 people, was chanting her name while she was waving. The players were looking at her. I go, Chyna. People know who you are? Question mark. All on tape. Now, I get a phone call. Vegas was our next stop the next day, which is like a 20-hour drive. This kid's got cerebral palsy. Josh is his name. He runs this organization. He's a really good dude. He's in a wheelchair. I've gotten him some celebrities in the past for his celebrity poker tournament, which he did at the Rio every year, and Chyna was going to do it. Well, he calls me and goes, dude, I'm just wondering if you're in town or if you're close by, because I lost my headliner for the night before poker tournament party. And I was wondering if Chyna's in town. I said, well, what time is it? He goes, 7 o'clock. I said, we're in Omaha. He goes, shit. I go, but if we leave right now, we could probably get to Vegas by 5 o'clock tomorrow. He goes, are you serious? I'm serious. So we left in the third inning, proceeded to drive overnight, got there at about 6:30, walked in while she's hugging this kid in a wheelchair, and he's weeping, thanking her for coming. All on tape. And we do the celebrity poker tournament. We do the party that night and the tournament the next day. Now, she's been sober now this is 23 days in to our venture since I picked her up. 23 days. She has not had one drop of alcohol. She does not appear to have been overly pharmaceutically, enhanced, because she's taken you know, her Vicodin, or not her Vicodin, but Xanax in the day, and she takes the sleeping pill at night. And it's a horrible combination. Horrible combination. But she couldn't sleep. And she had high anxiety. That's why she took the shit during the day. Well, so far so good. However, she's going to be running out of medication. So pretty soon, within like the next 8 or 9 days, we need to get her a doctor. And I called Dr. Drew. Why? Because Dr. Drew treated her in celebrity rehab and has also been a very close friend to both of us for many years after that. And Drew and I have worked together, and we're boys. I cast celebrity rehab, all those people. And we had a lot of people die on that after that show, sadly. And we had to live through that. So anyway, so I called Dr. Drew. He gives me a whole bunch of recommendations for psychiatrists and psychologists and all of that shit. Great, because that's part of our reconstruction. She's got to go see doctors. She's got to get her head together, man. She's got to get off the shit, and she's got to stop drinking. But she's an alcoholic, but she's a binge drinker. She'll drink 11 days in a row nonstop and then not drink for 3 months. But if you black out and if you binge, you're an alcoholic. You have to drink every day to be an alcoholic. Okay? So she was a binge alcoholic. Now, when she was drinking, it was only wine. It was not like hard liquor. Cheap wine. But she's taking the meds. So the mixture, not good. Okay? So anyway, but for the 23 days up until we got to Vegas, she was great. Once we got to Vegas, that night after the poker tournament, and the next morning we were going to drive to LA, I went to her room. She had completely emptied the liquor cabinet. And I think I fucked up because I put her in a room with, you know, the little liquor thing. Dude, it was empty. And she was passed out. All on tape, all footage, all part of the process, all part of this journey we were taking. Okay? I knew it wasn't going to be easy. I wasn't judging her. She has a disease. I'm there to help her. Not go, what the fuck are you doing drinking? Like, hey, sweetie. And basically, she had led me to believe that she was sober in Japan, and she wasn't. So, okay. This is all part of the thing. So, but I told her, this ain't going to work. When you drink, everything stops. And I will not be a codependent to your dysfunction. So, when you're drinking, you're on your own. I'll be over here doing what I do. You'll be over there drinking, and we're not doing anything with you. And then you're going to let me know when it's time to get back to business. Because usually when she would binge over the years, I would then take care of her afterwards. And she goes, I'm done with this shit. Mashed potatoes, juicing, smoothies, cuddling. Because I slept in the same bed with her 100 times, but we never were intimate. Okay? I saw her naked 1,000 times, same, whatever. It was like we were a married couple without being married and without having sex. I'm not kidding. It's crazy. So, we start LA. I get on the phone with Roddy Piper. I'm on the phone with Roddy Piper, who I represented at the time, who also died on my watch. So Piper and Chyna had a great relationship. 10 years earlier, 11 years earlier, Chyna and I are at Jerry's Deli on Ventura Boulevard. We're walking to pay. I hear, Anthony. I look over. It's Roddy Piper in a booth with his son, Colt, who's about 12 years old. I said, Rod, what's up, buddy? Look who I'm with. And he goes, oh, my God. Roddy Piper and Chyna had never met. And Colt happened to be the biggest Chyna fan. Forget about his old man. The biggest Chyna fan on the planet. So Colt and Chyna became very close. Chyna and Roddy's daughters became very close. Piper and Chyna and Kitty, Piper's wife, very close. We're all now very close. Okay? Fast forward. I get Piper on the phone with Chyna saying, listen, man, I am trying to make amends with Chyna and the WWE. Your boy's with Hunter. He goes, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Let's schedule her for my podcast. And I'll do it when I got Hunter on. And we'll take calls. And Chyna will be one of the calls. And we'll make it look like the producer thought he was doing something really cool, not really knowing the backstory of why this was not a good idea. But here's the deal. They'll be on the phone together, and he'll be stuck. So we can have the conversation. He goes, let me tell you something. Come hell or high water, I will make sure that they communicate with each other. I will be the one. I went, Rod, I love you, man. Thank you. Now, that's relevant, and I'm going to tell you why. So we get to L.A., and turns out that the director stayed in Cleveland and tells me I don't have any more money. And spent the flight for Chyna to get home, which is about $1,100. Spent it all in with the band, about $3,000. But now he doesn't have any money. And Rob, the idiot, turns out to be the guy that we're going to use sort of like the grunt guy. He's going to drive overnight. He's going to do some editing, blah, blah, blah. Turns out he didn't plan on going back to Boston. He ended up staying at my place for 2 months. I fed him. I took care of him. I got him a phone. He lived in my house with my 18-year-old daughter down the hall. Turns out to be a fucking pedophile. And Chyna also lived there until we found Chyna the perfect spot on the beach. So Rob ends up moving out 2 months later. I helped him get a place in Hollywood because he won a lawsuit with Eric that was phony. So somebody gave him $11,000, so he had some money. Chyna stays with me for 5 months. Lives with me for 5 months. All this footage, everywhere we went, I shot. Everything she did, I shot. When she was loaded, I shot. All the bad stuff. When we went to Vegas, I had to leave her in Vegas one time. Okay, I got Coolio a gig for an appearance in Vegas. And I said, you guys got an extra $1,000 for Chyna? She's coming with me anyway. Yeah, sure. Well, we went. Chyna and I shared a room because that was part of the deal. And when the gig was over, Chyna was nowhere to be found. She knew the next morning at 8 a.m. we had to leave because I had to be back in L.A. by 1 to take my daughter to a doctor's appointment that I had scheduled for 3 months. Well, 9 o'clock that night, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, I'm calling Chyna. Phone is dead. 8 o'clock in the morning, there's no Chyna. I wait till 9, there's no Chyna. I get in the car and drive home. About, 4 hours later, hey, it's Chyna. Hey, my phone got shut up. I lost my purse. I'm in the Caesar's Palace, or I don't even know where I am. I'm like, Chyna, what? And then the guy takes the phone and he goes, hey, man, this is Chyna. I know. And he goes, she has no pants on. And we're in the parking lot at Circus Circus. I said, dude, I need you to hook me up. I'm going to get a room. Get her to that room, please. He goes, you got it. So I get her in a room in Las Vegas, in Circus Circus, and arrange for a bus ride, Greyhound, which picked up at the Union Plaza and said, dude, I'll pay you. I got you, man. I got you. So this guy gets her on bus, and she comes back to L.A., and I pick her up at the Greyhound bus station in L.A., and she's fucked up, man, for 4 straight days, screaming and yelling at me. Why did you leave me? Why did you leave me? I go, what are you talking about, girl? She goes, no, you picked up a girl, and you told me don't come home tonight because you're gonna fuck this girl. I go, are you out of your mind? That never happened. Anyway, it's all part of this condition, right? So we get through it, but I'm just telling you, along the way, there were so many things that went down. She got arrested one night. She was missing in action. She passed out in front of her apartment. The cops and the ambulance came because somebody saw a woman laying on the ground. She had $20,000 in cash in her purse. And the cops said, you want to go to jail or to the hospital? She said, well, I don't want to go to the hospital because I don't want to pay the bill, so take me to jail. So she went to jail. Well, nobody can find her all night. So I get off the plane. I get a call, Chyna's missing in action. Uh-oh. I call Dr. Drew. Dr. Drew, Chyna's missing in action. Have you heard from her? No. Holy shit. 7 o'clock the next morning, the cops call me. We got Chyna. So I go get her out of jail. I got it all on tape. Me asking her, coming out. She's crying. We're hugging. She's got no shoes on. She's got a robe on. I got a sign for her. We get in the car. She explains to me what happened, all this. It's the most unbelievable stuff. You have no idea how amazing the footage is. There's so much, so awesome, so brilliant. Now, at this point, I come to I'm shooting everything. Okay, there's no director, there's no Rob, there's no nothing. I come to find out Eric's a heroin addict. And him and Rob are doing a ton of meth together. Great. And do they got a thing for each other? Are they fucking? Are they getting other people involved? But it's bad. So I'm like, yikes. Well, I'm going to now fast forward a little bit. I got Chyna a place. She was doing a ton of work. We were doing the Comic-Con. She was making from anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000 in cash per appearance. Her rent was $3,000. I was paying all her bills. I did all the paperwork to get her apartment because, you know, she had horrible credit. The IRS was coming after her. You know, I got it done. Let's just put it that way. So, sorry, one second. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So, I did all this stuff for her. Now, so I'm going to get to my point. I'm going to get to the end here. I'm gonna, like the end part. So Chyna and I are doing all this stuff together. And again, I'm not her manager. You know what I'm saying? It's like every day we did 31 straight days of hot yoga together. Every day it's like, what are we doing today? You know what I mean? We lived on the beach. We went and did shit. I got her on botched. And that's how we did her body. Dr. DeBro redid her tits, redid her stomach, her whole thing. We got it done. It was her and I on that episode. And then she died. They were going to air it in May. It was going to be the season finale. She died in April. They were going to air it in May. They chose not to air it because Jan created a fit over it. Okay? So, which is too bad. But I have all that footage, all the behind-the-scenes footage. It's all part of the doc. Mind, body, and soul. We're documenting a year of her life, remember. So when Hulk Hogan got busted screwing that girl and did the racial thing, I captured that and how she felt about it, what she said about it, and all that stuff, and all of that. Roddy Piper dies 6 weeks after him and I have this conversation, right, about how they're going to get Chyna and Hunter together. So very few people are invited to Roddy's funeral. I'm one of them, and I take Chyna, and we fly to Portland, where Rod lived outside of Portland. You may not know this, but when Roddy Piper was fighting Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan back in the day, Vince offered Rod a mansion on the East Coast for free. But Rod's wife loved Portland, so he would, when he had a day off, he'd fly home while everybody else stayed on the East Coast, and then fly back the next day so he could get 3 or 4 hours with his family. But know this, it was an hour and a half from the Portland airport. So the travel from New York or Connecticut to Portland was not nonstop. And then the drive was an hour and a half. And I'd been to his house many times. Okay? So we fly to Portland. We get a car. We drive to this place that was kind of like a middle school quad indoor thing where there's a cafeteria and shit like that, and there was a stage, and that's where they had his funeral. Now, they had one in L.A. at the Comedy Store or something like that, the Laugh Factory, but this was for his close people. Bret Hart was there. Ric Flair was there. Sergeant Slaughter was there. There was a couple of other people there, and just his family. So I'm shooting footage when we get out of the car, and while Colt is crying in Chyna's arms, their daughters, Kitty, Chyna, thank you. We walk in, we have a seat. Turns out that this is a Monday. Monday Night Raw was in Portland that night. Who the fuck do you think is sitting over there in the corner? Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Chyna are now in the same room together. And it took Rod to die to make that happen. You with me?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay, so I lost one headphone, so I only have my left one. So if you stop hearing me, text me or something. You know, maybe I'll just go to, hold on, let me just go to speaker. Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, so Hunter's there. It's like, oh my God, Hunter's here. Anyway, the processions happen, the things happen. Now it's the end of the funeral. And people have lined up because they're going to walk past the family and right past Roddy's urn. And who stands up next to the family but Hunter? Okay? And Chyna's like, oh my God, what do I do? I said, walk down there. I want you to, because he's stuck. He's in the corner. He can't move. Hunter cannot go anywhere. He cannot move. He is trapped. Chyna gets in line. I say, when you walk up to him, here's what I want you to say. It's great to see you, and I want you to know how sorry I am for everything that I did, and that's my fault. That's it. And she goes, okay. So now I go to the back of the room, back in the room, into the cafeteria area, and I, on my iPhone, zoom in to this encounter where you can't, I mean, it's not grainy, but I mean, think of it zooming in as far as you can zoom in.
Right.
And she goes up, and as soon as he sees her, I mean, you could see, oh my God. And then she wraps her arms around him, whispers in his ear, and you can see him say, me too. And see him say it. And then she walks to the left and goes to the family, and we leave. Oh my God. Now, fast forward to the next day. So, there it is. Roddy came through. Told me he would. Got it on tape. Happened to be at his funeral. Not on his podcast. So, next day, X-Pac tweets, Chyna gets removed at Piper's funeral. Uninvited. Creates a scene. Like, what? All because Hunter told X-Pac what happened, and this is to make Hunter look like, oh, I didn't hug Chyna. Oh, I didn't do anything. And we went crazy. We were so upset. Before we can do anything, Kitty, and I'm sure you could look all this up, Kitty responds, the horrible thing to say. Chyna is a close, dear friend of the family. She was invited, and it was an honor to have her there. So Kitty had our back. Okay? So, for example, there's that. Now, fast forward. I'm going to get to the point. Now we're in April of 15, the month she died. It's the last weekend of March. Jan lives in North Carolina. I have been really working hard on those two people for this relationship. I'm talking a lot to Jan. I'm talking a lot to Chyna. I'm the mediator. On occasion, Chyna will email Jan. It's a bunch of blubber because Chyna's inebriated, because she has high anxiety, and gets a little fucked up and decides that she's going to reach out to her mom. And her mom is like, I go, we're going to get there. I promise you, we're going to get there. She's going to get, she's going to get this help. She's going to get it. In the meantime, we have so many psychiatrists we're trying to find. Nobody's taking new patients. There's a whole arc on how horrible it was to get. We ended up having to order meds online because we couldn't get anybody to see us. All that, man. It's crazy. So that's all shown. But anyway, so finally, we're coming to North Carolina, and for the first time in 30 years, Chyna is going to see her mother, and her mother is going to see Chyna. And they both have different stories on why Chyna left at the age of 15. But I have footage of Jan telling me why Chyna left at 15. It was because Jan's husband at the time, the stepdad,
Oh, I lost you. Anthony. Anthony?
But back in those days,
Anthony. Sorry, Anthony. I hate to cut you off. I got to go back. You dropped out just before you mentioned why Jan said that Chyna had left when she was 15. Hello. Can you hear me, Anthony? Hello.
I can hear you. Can you hear me? I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
I can hear you.
Yep. If you can hear me, then yeah, just go back to you dropped right before you said why Jan told you Chyna left when she was 15.
Yeah, she told me Chyna left when she was 15 because Jan was married to a man who was abusive, sexually and physically, and verbally, an alcoholic. But Jan felt families together, marriages stay together. Much as she hated what was going on in the house, it was happening. So Chyna started staying after school and started going to the gym and working out and started working on her body, and because she didn't want to go home. And then too many things were happening. And Jan told me all this, not Chyna. Jan told me this, and I have footage of this. Jan's story is different now. Jan says that Chyna left at 15 because she was a rebel. That's not true. And because I got footage. So.
Hey, Anthony, your microphone just changed. Your microphone, Anthony, your microphone.
Really involved.
Anthony, can you hear me? Anthony.
Anthony.
Hey, Anthony.
Also,
I can't. Anthony.
But not as bad. That's where she is.
Anthony, can you hear me?
Okay, and that's when all that happened. So,
Anthony, can you hear me?
Chyna and Jan had not spoken. Hello.
Hey, Anthony, your microphone went crazy.
Hello.
Hey, can you hear me? Anthony?
Yeah, I can hear you, man, but I think it's going to be tough. So I think maybe, because this is now it's the important stuff, and I can you hear me or not?
I can.
Like just talking, and then I talk for 10 minutes, and then I got to repeat myself.
No, I can hear you.
So is it better if we do a landline, or when you give me some time to get settled or to finish it up, or can you hear me now?
I'm free today after 3 o'clock if you'd like to do it then.
3 o'clock.
I mean,
Central.
I could do it now. Now would be preferable if you're fine.
Well, if you're good now, I'm good now too. But I just want to make sure that and I lost my ears because they died. So now I'm screaming into a speakerphone. So I just want to make sure you can hear me.
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you fine. I just need you to go back to if we can go back to where you were before about what Jan told you about why Chyna left home when she was 15.
Yeah, there's a lot, dude. I got to be honest. I don't want to
keep having to repeat all that.
No.
So how about this?
Okay.
Let's talk later, and that's where we'll start.
Okay, that sounds good, man. Can I call you after, or can I buzz you at like 3 o'clock Central Time?
Well, I'm going to be I'm going to be doing the signing with Sorvino.
Okay. Oh,
So,
till 7. Okay.
I don't know if I'm going to have. I might be like knee deep in that for a couple of hours.
Can we do this
The reason
tomorrow?
I'm driving that.
Can we do this tomorrow at the same time,
That-
then? 10 a.m. Central?
Absolutely.
All right.
If you can hold off, man.
Yeah, we're not going to release this till I think we're looking at Monday, Tuesday next week if we can get it all together. So
Okay, all right.
yeah,
So so let's do it. Let's do 10 a.m. tomorrow, and then I'll continue. But what you're going to find in the next version is where things went bad
yeah, that's
with
fine.
Jan and I, because you can see up until this point, I'm on her team. We're working together, on all this.
Yeah.
And I'll talk to you tomorrow at 10, buddy.
All right, sounds good, Anthony. Thank you very much for the time. We'll chat then. And that concludes the first installment of Documenting Chyna. When we join you next, you're going to hear more from Anthony Anzaldo as he talks about his relationship with Chyna, her mother Jan, everyone else involved in his documentary, and we begin to get to the root of why I started this series anyway. The concerns that Jan had about the circumstances surrounding Chyna's death. So we will talk to you tomorrow. Please follow at Wrestling Inc. over on Twitter. Subscribe to the Wrestling Inc. Daily, and I'll talk to you then.